back. The Cheltenham Countdown YouTube channel is back. I'm thrilled to be returning on my third season on this YouTube channel for this upcoming jumps campaign. The 2025-26 jump season. There's not long to go now. There's only just under 2 months away before the start of the jumps season. So I'm here to start my own sort of build up and the lead up to the jump season in August this year again, like I did last season for my second year. My third season though is going to start a bit differently. I did put a post not so long ago on Twitter, on X, revealing that I'd have 3 special episodes before the season starts, before the season gets underway. Nothing to do with any anti-post betting, nothing to do with any weekend previews or anything like that. I just have 3 new special episodes to give to you all before the season starts. I'll try and get them up before September. If not, I'll definitely get them up before October time. But the first one is coming up today. And the title of this new episode today is the top Cheltenham Festival moments. Yeah, I've got a bit of a list myself now that I've really prepared myself during the whole summer. I wanted to think of something different to start this season off, and not with any horses to follow or any anti-post betting for months ahead and so forth. Obviously, I have done a few bets. Obviously, I couldn't go without any sort of gamble over the summer for the jump season. Nonetheless, I have got a bit of a list that I prepared with you all for my top 10 Cheltenham Festival moments. Now, you may think to myself, how can a man like me, or anyone, I guess, just watching Cheltenham pick their own top 10? You've got to base it on some sort of criteria, I think. And what I'm basing my own top 10 Cheltenham Festival moments on this specific video is what I've personally seen in my own 30 years of life, my own 30 years of living in this world and what have you. I want to base it on what I've seen visually, either on the television or on live TV. On the television or on live in person. What I've seen at Cheltenham during the Cheltenham Festival. Now, I haven't been a racing fan ever since I was born. I haven't obviously just joined the world and thought, oh, I love racing, I love horse racing. I've obviously gradually got into racing as I've gotten older, with the years ahead, with the years going forward. So what got me into racing, especially in jumps racing, was, and this is a bit of a hint now, it's maybe one of my top 10 moments in the list coming up in this show. What the horse that got me into horse racing, guys, was Koto Star for Paul Nicholls. He really captured my imagination with jumps racing. Obviously, his battle with his rivalry with Denman, going for years and years in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, was historic. Was probably one of my favourite times growing up as a kid, watching the festival, watching horse racing. But then in the last sort of 7 to 8 years, I'd say, I've been going my own self with my friends and my family to the Cheltenham Festival, to many days of the Cheltenham Festival weeks. Over the years ahead. So for the last 7 years, obviously we had that year with COVID in 2021 where nobody could attend. That's probably the only year in the last 6 to 7 years I haven't attended Cheltenham and the Cheltenham Festival. I've obviously been going there every day of the festival for the last 6 to 7 years. So I'm going to build my list around that sort of time. So since Koto Star emerged as a big name in the sport, as a legend of the sport, and what I've witnessed and seen either in person or on live television since then in the Cheltenham Festival. So we'll kick things off next with number 10, and we'll go from 10 to number 1 as the highest, as my favourite top Cheltenham Festival moment. I want to say before I go down the list, down the order for my own personal top 10 Cheltenham Festival moments, all these moments I'm going to be giving to you in my own criteria, my own list. They're all for the good of our sport, for the good of horse racing. They're the memories that I will never forget, and potentially we will never forget. If you're watching this video, you'll never forget potentially these moments if you're watching them on TV or if you're at Cheltenham on the day. They're not for any falls. Just to mention, they're not for any falls or any mishaps, not for the unluckiest moment or anything like that at Cheltenham. They're all for the good, for the best moments, for the best memories that I can remember and I will never forget. So some people, I guess, will never forget a missed jump or a fall from a horse, but I don't want to go down that route. I don't want to go down that specific path for this video. I'm only going to be selecting my own moments that I thought was a wow moment, was a winning moment, was a contribution to the sport that's been historic. So from number 10 to 1, here we go. Number 10, we'll start off with obviously the lowest of my top 10 Cheltenham Festival moments. And I've got a little headline or a little line in terms of what I've named these moments myself in the list I'm giving you. So at number 10, the name of the title of the moment is going to be Annie Power's Day of Redemption. In 2016, we saw her win the champion hurdle very easily, very well. That day in 2016, she beat My Tent or Yours for JP McManus by 4 lengths on the day for her own connections, Rich Ritchie, Ruby Walsh riding, and obviously for the master trainer Willie Mullins. But her redemption part of the day of her win obviously came from 12 months earlier at the same track on the same course, whereby she fell at the last in the mare's hurdle, going for a 4-timer for Ruby Walsh and Willie Mullins on the day, which did save the bookmakers massive amounts of money and probably let them win the whole festival, in fact, on that opening day of that meeting. Now, Annie Power was a sensational mare. She's a sensational brood mare as well. She's doing really well with the stallions that's coming towards her. Now, I guess she was a brilliant race mare, like I said, and she absolutely hammered a good field on the day. I think she beat My Tent to Yours in second, like I mentioned. Nichols Canyon, who obviously went on to win a stage hurdle in the future, and a few other top horses in the race. I think the new one was also racing in the race himself. So my number 10 in the list for my own personal top 10 moments is going to be Annie Power's Day of Redemption in 2016. She did deserve her day in the sun at Cheltenham, and obviously came back from a bad fall in 2015 to win a massive Grade 1 over hurdles the year later. At number 9 in my list now, guys, is going to be a horse you may have guessed from earlier in the video where I mentioned that a horse that got me into racing myself is Koto Star's moment where he regained the Gold Cup in 2009 for Paul Nicholls and Ruby Walsh. Obviously, winning the Gold Cup, first of all, in 2007 was an amazing feeling for Connections. They won it against a brilliant field of horses on the day where Koto Star absolutely hammered them and displayed a fantastic round of jumping on the track. Then in 2008, he came up against his own stablemate, his own rival in Denman for the same trainer combo. And Denman obviously put him to the sword in that race. So we did think a year to build up to 2009 where it would be Koto Star versus Denman in the rematch. Who would win? Who would probably be the best out of the two on the day in that race? And there was only one horse in there. I think Koto Star was absolutely flawless on that day, beating Denman really well up the Cheltenham Hill, put him to the sword. Denman had no answer to Koto Star's brilliance on the day. We obviously know what Koto Star has done away from Cheltenham in winning 5 King Georges, Betfair Chases, etc., etc. But it was a moment in 2009 where obviously I think I was in secondary school that year, and coming home from secondary school on the day, obviously I would finish school, let's say 3:30 in the afternoon. The race, Gold Cup, notoriously would start at about 3:30 in the afternoon as well. So you'd have a rush back to get on the bus or get home to see I would get back in a rush to get home to see who would win between Koto Star and Denman. Say by getting home at 4:00, you'd find out the result. And obviously in 2009, when I came back and found out Koto Star had beaten Denman and regained his Gold Cup, fantastic moment. Obviously, as a young kid growing up, that horse was the superstar of jumps racing. I think he was the superstar of the jump sport. He was the best chaser around, probably one of the best horses of all time. In fact, obviously up there with Arkle and so forth, and Best Mate and Desert Orchid. Koto Star was the horse that got me into racing, into loving the sport. So when he won in 2009, when I came home from school that day and realised he'd beaten Denman, he'd won his Gold Cup back, fantastic moment. That's one of the best moments I had growing up as a kid. Before then, I was going to Cheltenham as an older man. So as an older teenager, I guess. So Koto Star regaining the Gold Cup in 2009 is going to be my number 9 in my list for top 10 Cheltenham Festival. Number 8 is going to be one of my finest ever hours I've ever experienced at a racetrack, anywhere that I've been going racing. One of the best 2 races back to back I've seen with regards to the 2 winners being such fan favourites, being such incredible legends of jumps racing. It's of course in 2019 when Paisley Park and Frodon, first of all, lit up Cheltenham in an incredible hour of sport, of jumps racing. Of course, we had Frodon, who won the Ryanair Chase in 2019 at 10-3 on that Thursday afternoon, followed up by when Paisley Park heroically won the Stayers Hurdle the next race. It was an incredible, I'd say 50 minutes, maybe not even an hour, 50-minute thrill of joy and sensational feelings from all connections involved. Obviously with Frodon with Bryony Frost and Paisley Park with his owner Andrew Gemmell at Cheltenham. It was incredible 2 races that I've never experienced such noise, such thrill. When 2 horses crossed the line, when the fans really wanted them and wanted them to dig in and win, they both delivered. And I think that'll stand in my memory as the crowd and the horse really gelled that day. Obviously, the jockeys were on the horses that got them home as well, but the crowd really got behind the horses that day at Cheltenham. I think that stands out in the memory. Obviously, we know Frodon and Bryony Frost are one of the fans' favourites. Both Frodon retired now, of course, as is Paisley Park with his magnificent owner Andrew Gemmell, who is adored by the public. We really did lit up Cheltenham on that Thursday afternoon in 2019. So short and sweet, but a very special memory I will never forget is when Frodon won the Ryanair Chase and Paisley Park won the Stayers Hurdle in 2019 on that Thursday afternoon. 7. Well, who could forget the little legend that is Tiger Roll, one of the best staying horses we've ever seen, especially since Red Rum. Of course, he's a little legend of Cheltenham Racecourse and an absolute legend of Aintree Racecourse as well. Nonetheless, he's won 2 Grand Nationals back to back. Now, Tiger Roll goes down for me as probably the best Grand National horse since Red Rum. Of course, he does. But at Cheltenham as well, he goes down as one of the best cross-country chases we've ever seen. Probably the best cross-country chase horse we've ever seen. He's won 3 of them. He's won 3 cross-country chase races at the festival, and it's probably his last one in 2021 was when there was no crowd to observe him, no crowd at all to see him on the day win his glorious hat-trick of Glenfarclas cross-country chases. Of course, a couple of years, 2 years following that, he lost out to Delta Work as well. Sadly, well, there was crowd there, of course, but his last ever victory at Cheltenham in 2021 was a COVID year when we couldn't see him win his brilliant race again in front of us all at Cheltenham. Instead, I watched on TV that day. Still a fine moment, still a fine memory. I'll live long in the memory when he absolutely obliterated Easy's Land for a horse for JP McManus on the day. He's a little legend for connections and for Gordon Elliott, of course, and will go down in history as probably one of the best staying horses in the modern era. So at number 7, you little legend, Tiger Roll. 6 in my list comes from the year 2020, and probably I'd say I probably would go as far as to say really that it's the best race finish I've ever seen at the festival since going there live in person. And this day I was in the best mate enclosure at the far end of the race course, so I could see how the race was unfolding towards the near stand, towards the I had a good view of the finish line as well. I was right at the top of the stand, could see the finish line very well. So it is, of course, when Champ for JP McManus, AP McCoy's name renowned with the horse as well, and when Barry Geraghty rode him through the middle of Manila Indo and Allaho towards the end of a thrilling RSA Novices Chase renewal. An absolutely brilliant race for novices that this is. I think it's one of my favourite races at the festival, a 3-mile novice chase for future probably Gold Cup contenders. Sadly, we didn't get to see Champ in a Gold Cup, win a Gold Cup, I should say, in his prime. We did see a horse in second that day, Manila Indo, go on and win a Gold Cup. And Allaho, of course, in third that day, and subsequently went on to win 2 Ryanair chases at the festival. But it was the way that just Allaho and Manila Indo jumped over the last. None of them jumped it really well. Obviously, tired legs coming to the end of a grueling race. Tired horses. They jumped over the last fence, straggling up the hill. Really tired run up. A long run in up the hill on that old course. And then Champ jumps the last, probably I'd say 50 yards away from Manila Indo and Allaho. Coming up the hill, he's grinding along, really powering up to try and catch him. And in the end, he comes slicing through the middle of both Manila Indo and Allaho to win an absolutely brilliant ending to a fantastic race. The way the crowd reacted to it was phenomenal. And it was just lived long in the memory. The way he came in between Allaho and Manila Indo, up the run-in, and obviously managed to grab the victory. fantastic race. I had a great view of it with my mate who was next to me. We couldn't believe it. We were both cheering on Champ because I think I backed him that day as well, luckily. So the feeling that when he crossed that finishing line in front was an outstanding moment. So at number 6 is when Champ won a thrilling RSA renewal. 5 is a very, very historic moment in Cheltenham Festival history. Is when Sprinter Sacre won his Queen Mother Champion Chase, the comeback year. The King was back. The champion of the 2 mile division had returned in 2016 when he sadly had heart conditions and a few issues for the years previously. He came back in 2016 and was sent off 5-1 on the day. So fair few people had doubts over his ability if he could still do it at the top level. But the champion he was, the king that he is, the 2 mile chase hero that he will always be. Probably one of the best horses we've ever seen in our lives as well over jumps. Phenomenal for connections to win that race. And I just remember the commentary, I think it was by Mark Johnston on Racing TV that day, when he said something along the lines of, they say champions never come back, they say champions can never do it, or something along those lines. The impossible dream. Oh, that was maybe Simon Holt as well, who mentioned the impossible dream. And that's where you get the music from on these YouTube videos as well, when you see Sprinter Sacre and that winning moment in 2016 in the champion chase. It's just one of those moments that give you spine-tingling moments, the hairs at the back of your neck stand up, and a thrilling moment in that particular festival of 2016, like I said. So number 5, so there's another 4 to go now, guys. There's another 4 on my list. Are they going to be able to top Sprinter Sacre? I certainly think they have, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't pick them. But at number 5, Sprinter Sacre's great comeback in that 2016 Queen Mother Champion Chase will live long in the memory for a lot of jumps fans. At number 4 to go now, and this moment in the time I've been going to the festival kicked things off in 2022, the first race at the festival where crowds returned following a year out in 2021 because of COVID. So the first race back in 2022 was, of course, the Supreme Novices Hurdle every year. The Supreme kicks things off, the Cheltenham Row, etc. It's a brilliant occasion. You just have to be there to admire the row, to listen to it all, to witness the occasion. And in 2022, like I said, the Supreme kicked things off with a very keen Dysart Dynamo and Jumbo wanting to get things going. And of course, who was behind them? Pouncing at the start, not letting them get any extra yards or needed to get any extra further away from the field, was Constitution Hill. Now, the way this race unfolded is one thing, but the way he would go on to become a superstar in the sport is another. So let me break things down to you first of all. Constitution Hill, when it was sent off, I think joint favourite on the day, or 9-4 favourite in that Supreme Novices Hill of 2022, along with Dysart Dynamo and John Bon and so forth. There was a good field of horses in that race, and the pace was frenetic. The pace was absolutely lightning quick, with Dysart Dynamo and John Bon taking each other on from the get-go. Constitution Hill would sit about 2 or 3 lengths behind throughout the whole course, throughout the whole circuit, until they got to the top of the hill. And when they got to the top of the hill, the 3 started to pull away from the rest of the field of the horses. They started to pull 5 lengths ahead, 6 lengths ahead. Then it became 7 and 8 lengths ahead from the rest of the pack. Down to the third last, the pace started gradually getting quicker, and Dysart Dynamo went for a bit of a long jump, a bit of a exuberant jump, 3 out in a Supreme Grade 1 race at the festival. Paul Tony didn't sit, the horse fell, their race over. It was down to Nicky Henderson's Big 2. Who would win between Constitution Hill or John Bon? The answer was made after the second last hurdle, because Constitution Hill out-jumped John Bon and absolutely kicked around that bend like I've never seen anything before in my life. I backed John Bon on the day, unfortunately. Well, great horse than John Bon is. I backed him that day against the superstar to be known as Constitution Hill. He would go around that bend like a cheetah in like absolutely like Lewis Hamilton in a Formula 1 car. It was absolutely electric. And with the way he went around that bend and kicked up the hill, jumped the last, effortless. Went up the hill and set the quickest ever race in the Supreme Novices Hurdle. The track record in the race pulverising John Bon and the rest of the field up that hill to land a magnificent start for Nicky Henderson and Nico de Boinville and Michael Buckley. The performance of the festival, of course, in race number 1, and I'd never seen anything like it in my life. So number 4 is when Constitution Hill roared up the Cheltenham Hill in that Supreme Novices Hurdle. A year later, obviously, we hadn't seen it since Bula won it years ago. A Supreme Novice winner going on to win a champion hurdle a year later. He would do it against Statesman again. He is renowned around the jumps world as one of the best horses in training. Sadly, he hasn't been doing it of late. Hopefully, he comes back. Does come back to his brilliant best, which is a brilliant best that he has this upcoming season. But for me to see it along with my mates and everyone else there on the day in 2022, the first race back, of course, after COVID at Cheltenham in the festival, he'd break the track record at a canter. So, yeah, a thrilling moment. Even though I wasn't on him betting wise, it was still an absolutely an image I would never get in my mind. The way he absolutely drew ahead of John Bon, scooted up the hill effortlessly. Like I said, it was like Lewis Hamilton in a Grand Prix, overtaking for the lead up towards the end of a race. It's phenomenal stuff. I can't put into words, guys, how great this was. Even like I said, even though I wasn't on him, put that aside, to see a superstar in the making do that in a novice company and day 1, the first race of the Cheltenham Festival, would be remarkable, and it will live long in the memory. I don't care if people say bad things about this horse, because they're completely wrong. He is a legend of the sport, like we all know he is. So just to recap, number 4, Constitution Hill rose up the Cheltenham. Been with the theme of 2022 again for number 3 now, with 3 to go. Like I said, in 2022 we saw history on the Friday as well. Obviously, we did see Constitution Hill do what he did in day 1, but fast forward to day 4, Cheltenham Gold Cup Day at Cheltenham in 2022, and a woman by the name of Rachel Blackmore makes history by being the first female to ever win the Cheltenham Gold Cup. To be there that day in that amphitheatre of the winners' enclosure when she crossed the line and came into the winners' enclosure following the race is something I will never forget. I got a video of it on my phone and on my social media if you guys want to have a look at it. The music, the people, the amount of people there applauding her, cheering for her, the sense of amazement in people's eyes when they saw Rachel Blackmore on our Plutard that day scoot ahead from an Elindo up the hill in the finish line of the Cheltenham Gold Cup is historic. It's historic, and it will be historic for years to come, because she's the first female rider to ever win a champion hurdle, a champion chase, a stayers hurdle, a Gold Cup, and of course the Grand National. She's won everything. She's an absolute legend and a pioneer of horse racing, a pioneer of the sport, and she has to go down as one of the best jockeys in the modern era, in my opinion, up there with the likes of Ruby Walsh, AP McCoy. She's won the lot in such a short space of time as well. She has had good horses to ride, yes, but she is a phenomenal rider. Her strike rate is brilliant. The horses she wins on sometimes you don't expect them to win, but she gets them to win. She gets an extra 10 to 12 pounds out of the horse to get improvement out of them to win a brilliant Grade 1. And this is what she did with that It wasn't a vintage Gold Cup. I think Manelindo was the reigning champion, like I said. You had Galvin in the race. You had Alboon Photo in the race as well. But nonetheless, the headline act was Aplutar, and what he did to everyone else in that race was phenomenal. But what gives me the moment of this particular choice of mine is when she came up that winner's enclosure into the amphitheatre of the Cheltenham crowd, of the Cheltenham, of the whole racetrack, and everyone applauding her, everyone cheering her name. She'd made history. She's a history maker. I'm so glad I was there that day to see it. And yeah, a historic sportswoman. She's a brilliant legend of the sport, and may she enjoy her retirement now. So at number 3, just to recap, Aplutar wins the Gold Cup, but Rachel Blackmore makes history. 2 to go now, guys, and in number 2 is a very, very poignant day at Cheltenham. It's the moment I feel for this year's Cheltenham Festival, the one just gone, the one in 2025, when Marine Nationale and, of course, Jazzy Matty win a poignant double for the late Mikey O'Sullivan. Marine National won the champion chase, and Jazzy Marty won the Grand Annual the following race. Now, why is this so important? Because a young man Michael O'Sullivan was when sadly he passed away earlier this year. He would win. He had won on Marine National a few years previously in the Supreme Novices Hurdle. He had won on Jazzy Marty at the same day as Marine National would win the Supreme. He'd won the same day as that on Jazzy Marty in the Boodles at Cheltenham in the same festival. This year, they both won back-to-back races for their connections on the same day again. Obviously, a different day in terms of the Champion Chase and Grand Annual, different to the Supreme and the Boodles. But Jazzy Marty and Marine National will go down as brilliant horses in their own right, but live long in the memory for Mikey O'Sullivan, because it was Mikey's first Grade 1 success at the Cheltenham Festival and the Marine National. He then went on to win it again later on that day for Jazzy Marty in the Boodles. And such an incredible talent of a rider he was, at such a young age, taken away from his family and his friends, is so cruel. So at number 2, a poignant double on the day for Marine National and Jazzy Marty for Mikey O'Sullivan. And from what I gather from everyone else in the sport, he was not only was he a brilliant rider and a brilliant jockey, he was a gentleman, and that is so sad to hear that a young man, a young gentleman with so much care and so much ability has been taken away from horse racing and from the world, of course. So at number 2, like just recap, it is of course when Marine National and Jazzy Marty won their respective races at this year's Cheltenham Festival, a poignant day at Cheltenham, when the crowd observed it all in brilliant, you know, the moment was exceptionally well observed at Cheltenham. It'll never be forgotten. So that's my second best moment I've ever witnessed by going live or watching on TV at the Cheltenham Festival. Now, my number 1 Cheltenham Festival moment, since I've been obviously going to the racecourse and watching on TV or seeing live in person, was in 2023. Honeysuckle's fairy tale ending, of course, when she would win her final ever race on track, the Mares Hurdle that day. She previously won the Mares Hurdle in 2020, the Champion Hurdle in 2021, the Champion Hurdle again in 2022. A pioneer for her connections, a legend of jump racing, a great connection between her and jockey Rachel Blackmore again. Two queens of the sport. She is the queen of jump racing, of course, Honeysuckle, and to go out in style like she did at Cheltenham that day will never be forgotten. Obviously, the reception she had, again like Aplutar did in the Gold Cup. I have a video connected to Honeysuckle's last ever race at Cheltenham on my social media if you want to check it out on Twitter, etc. guys. Nonetheless, her day in the sun again at Cheltenham, her 4th win of the festival, will live long in the memory and never be forgotten by myself. She's a historic mare. She went so many races unbeaten. I think she only lost twice in her career. A phenomenal racehorse. She's now a brood mare again, like as was Annie Power earlier in the video. But it's a fairy tale ending. She went out in style. She bowed out in style for Henry de Bromhead and his family and her owner, of course. So number 1, my top festival moment in 2023, guys. This is my own top festival moment now, of course, since I've been going racing, since the year, obviously, when Court of Star got me into racing. This is my top Cheltenham Festival moment, Honeysuckle's fairy tale ending when she won the Mares Hurdle in 2023. We salute you, the queen of jumps racing, Honeysuckle. That is everything from this episode, guys. I hope it's been short and sweet for you all, just to give you my top 10 Cheltenham Festival moments in my own opinion. It's just my own opinion, my own criteria that I've made. Something fun to begin the new jump season, of course, for myself, and obviously this 3rd season on this channel. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because you get some new content now, some new bit of videos you'll get before the season starts. Like I've done with this episode, you'll get some top 10 and other features regarding Cheltenham and jumps racing. Like I said, like the video, share if you wish, show your mates, show your friends and family about myself, about what I've thought of Cheltenham in the last couple of 20 or 30 years. You don't have to agree with it. Obviously, give me your top 10 as well. Put in the comments below, what is your best Cheltenham Festival moment in your memory, in your history, in the years you've been watching Cheltenham and watching jumps racing at the Cheltenham Festival. But nonetheless, I've really loved giving you something different this year so far, something different for the first episode back. So, like I said, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at @the_Cheltenham for more updates, for more information regarding the festival and regarding the jump season this year. There's not long to go now, of course. 2 months away before the season starts. We'll get some more videos uploaded for you very soon. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. See you soon.